Hello everyone. In the previous sessions, we were discussing about the social responsibilities of businesses and the responsibilities towards the different stakeholders. Today's session will start with social audit and then we'll try to understand what is business ethics and corporate governance. So, coming to the definition of social audit, it is the systematic study and evaluation of the organization's social performance as distinguished from its economic performance. What do we mean by social performance? Social performance is the activities an organization is carrying out for the benefit of the society. That performance is measured in the social audit, whereas in economic or financial audit, economic performance of the organization is measured. That is the difference. Through difference, he has defined what is social audit. Social audit is the systematic study and evaluation of social performance of the organization as compared with the economic performance. Okay, it is different from the economic performance, wherein you study and evaluate with respect to the financial matters of the organization. Here, what are the different kinds of social activities an organization is carrying out? What is the impact of those activities onto the society? Okay, all those things will be studied and evaluated in this social audit. So, this social audit is having many benefits. Let me list out those benefits and explain it to you. Benefits of social audit. The first benefit we have is it supplies data for comparison with the organizations policies and standards these policies are social policies, you can say social policies and standards. For that it supplies the data. Second one is it develops a sense of social awareness among the employees. And the third benefit we have out of social audit is it provides data for comparison of effectiveness of different programs. Effectiveness of different programs, or you can say social activities or programs. And another benefit we have is it provides data about costs of different programs. These are the benefits of social audit. First one is it supplies data for comparison with the organization's policies and standards. So every organization will be having its own social policies or objectives. For that it supplies the data and the organization can compare this data with their standard and they will understand where they stand in the in terms of what performance at present and the set standards or the objective set. Okay, for that purpose it supplies the data, and then it develops a sense of social awareness among the employees. It is because when some organization is going for social audit, actually the employees have to prepare and report on social audit. Okay, for when they are preparing the social audit, they will come to know the implications of their acts on the society, and thereby it develops a sense of social awareness among the employees. And the next one is it provides data for comparison of effectiveness of different social programs. So when social audit is done, it gives an insight about what are the different social activities which have been carried out from the organization, also which activity is having maximum effectiveness and which is having lowest effectiveness, and the average effectiveness of different programs can be easily understood from the data which is given by the social audit. Okay, that is very beneficial for the companies to move forward in the future, okay, regarding the social activities. And then it provides data about costs of different programs. So this financial aspects of the social audit is very important, because different social activities an organization does and the cost related to that will be provided by the social audit, and that can be used for budgeting and resource allocation in the future. Okay, that's why it is very important to know about the costs of different programs, and that data is provided again by the social audit. Okay, so these are the benefits of social audit. There is a very important limitation in this social audit, that is social audit is a process audit rather than the social results. What I mean to say is, it is just going to determine what are the different social activities an organization doing in the society, but it will not determine what is the exact impact. It is not going to measure the results of the social activities which have been carried out. That's why it is a process audit, and it is not audit of social results. It is not a audit of social results, because it is only measuring the processes or different types of social activities being carried out. Exact results of those social activities or the impact of those social activities will not be measured, and hence it is called as, it is not an audit of social results, it is a process audit. So why we cannot go for this audit of social results? For that we have three reasons. Okay, let me list out the three reasons and explain. So an audit of social results is not made because they are difficult to measure, They means the social results. Okay. Then their classification under good or bad is not universally acceptable or universally accepted. And then we have the third one, which is most of them are carried out outside the organization, making it difficult to secure the data. That is data from the outside sources, you cannot secure easily. It will be a very difficult job. So why we are not going for social results? First one is they are difficult to measure. Why difficult to measure? Because you need to conduct a whole lot of surveys for measuring the results. So that will again have a separate cost and manpower is required for that. That's why it is not done. Second one is their classification under good or bad is not universally accepted. This is also true. Some of the organizations or groups will conduct some social activity, and in society every kind of people will be there. Some people will say this is a good activity and it is benefit for the society. Some other people will judge it as it is bad, they are not getting any benefit out of it in that way. So there is no universality in acceptance for whatever activity an organization does in the society. And then most of them are carried out outside the organization. Since the social activities need to be carried out outside the organization, it is very difficult to secure the data from outside sources. Because of these reasons, social results are not measured. Instead of that, the process of the social activities will be determined, and where the organization stands will be understood. Okay, so that's all about the social audit and its benefits and limitation. The next topic we have is business ethics. Okay, let us understand what is business ethics. Business ethics is the application of moral principles in the business problems or business situations. It is application of moral principles in the business problems or business situations, you can say. So it knows the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. It knows the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. It means there might be something legal, but it will be unethical. There might be something is illegal, but it might be ethical. So that is defined by business ethics. So it extends beyond the question of legality and involves goodness or badness of an act. Okay, business ethics talks about goodness or badness of an act, and it is beyond the question of legality of any act or any activity in businesses. So how an manager decides what is ethics in business or what is unethical in business? Based on 4 points, we can explain this. How does the manager decide what is ethical or what is unethical? First one is based on government legislation. Second one, business codes. Third one, pressure groups. Fourth one, managers' moral principles. So based on these 4 points, a manager decides which is ethical and which is unethical in an business. First one is government legislation, that is laws of the land. The manager here thinks that if something is legal, that will be ethical. Based on this, he takes the action, or he tries to solve the business problem in an ethical manner. If something is illegal, he thinks that it is unethical. When it comes to business codes, these are the rules of ethics designed to guide the employees of the particular organization. This is provided by the organization itself. In a particular situation, how an employee has to take decision involving ethics of the organization or business ethics. So that is again decided by the nature of particular organization. So it is having set of rules of ethics, and based on that the manager has to decide which is ethical and which is unethical. That is the second way. And the third one we have is pressure groups. Here let me explain with an example. Consider that you own a catering service and you have employed many people. In that you have adults as well as children. One of the customer will come to you and he says that your order will be cancelled because you have employed child labor. So children are working in his catering service, so he will tell that since child labor is unethical and illegal, I am cancelling the order, and thereby he is putting pressure on the owner, and it works as a pressure group. Similar things can happen in other businesses also. Some pressure groups will do strikes and they will force you to change your behavior, whether it might be ethical or unethical or legal or illegal. In that way, manager comes to know what is ethical and unethical based on the pressure groups. And then we have manager's moral principles. Manager himself has developed some moral principles, and based on that he think whether the particular act which he is going to exercise will be ethical or unethical. He decides based on his own consciousness. Okay, so based on these 4 points, manager will be able to decide what is ethical or unethical in a business. The next topic we have is corporate governance. This business ethics and corporate governance are closely related. So the next topic we try to understand is corporate governance. Corporate governance is the combination of rules, processes and laws by which all the organizations are operated, regulated and controlled. So, corporate governance is the combination of rules, processes and laws by which all the organizations are or the businesses are operated, regulated and controlled. Here the term corporate governance, it denotes that for what extent an organization is run in an honest and transparent manner for the sake of all the stakeholders or for the benefit of all the stakeholders. So that is what corporate governance is all about. Here the transparency and accountability are the two major parameters which decides whether the governance in an organization is good or bad. Okay, so for governing whether corporate governance is good or bad, Sir Adrian has put forward some recommendations. Let us go through those recommendations and try to understand what are the factors we need to consider for having a good corporate governance. Sir Adrian Cadbury's recommendations for good corporate governance. First one, non-executive directors should be picked from formal selection process. Second one, companies should have remuneration committees. Third recommendation is companies should have audit committees having at least 3 non-executive directors. And the next one is audit partners should be rotated. That means periodically they have to be changed. Fifth one is there should be fuller disclosure of non-audit work. So these are the recommendation of Adrian Cadbury. He says that first one is non-executive directors should be recruited using the formal selection process. Why non-executive directors are required? Because if you want to have a good corporate governance, independent judgments need to be taken regarding the different issues arising in an organization. For taking independent decisions, we need to have non-executive directors, because the executive directors might be biased and they may not give independent decisions, or they may not provide independent suggestions. Based on some bias only they will suggest. That's why he recommends to have non-executive directors which are picked from formal selection process. They may not be picked from their surrounding, like their friends or families or formal employees like that. They should be independent when it comes to the organization. Okay. And the next one is companies should have remuneration committees. Remuneration committees are the one which are going to suggest the board members or the executives to have a financial or any other rewarding policies so as to have a quality workers or quality executives in the organization, or retaining of quality workers in the organization based on some rewarding policy. For that decisions, again he suggests that non-executive directors must be involved in this remuneration committees. Okay. And then companies should have audit committees. Audit committees means the committees which decide on the financial audit. And again in this audit committees also, Sir Adrian wished to have at least 3 non-executive directors, and thereby he wants to ensure there is a fair auditing happens in the organization. And then audit partners should be rotated. So if you are going for again and again for a same audit partner, then he will be biased towards your organization, or he will be doing some favor to the organization. That's why he expects the organizations to keep on changing the audit partners. And then we have, there should be fuller disclosure of non-audit work. It is because sometimes what happens, only part of the work has been completed, another part might not be completed, and you will not take that work for the audit, or you will not provide data regarding that work. So that has to be disclosed whenever you go for the audit, and thereby you are going to maintain the transparency. If these points are followed, then Sir Adrian Cadbury says that you will be having a good or best corporate governance in terms of any organization. Okay. So these are the few points on good corporate governance. We have benefits out of good corporate governance, and then we have concepts related to corporate governance in India and entrepreneurship, that we'll see in the next session. Okay. Thank you.